thank you for taking time out of your day to get a better understanding of NetSuite SuiteFlow. My name is Meg Shea. I'm a solution consultant out of our Boston office, and I work specifically with advertising, media, and publishing clients. Our agenda today is going to go through a SuiteFlow overview. We'll get into a live demonstration, and then we'll wrap things up with a value proposition. So what is SuiteFlow? So NetSuite provides a tool called SuiteFlow, which allows users the ability to personalize their business rules within the application without having to write any code to do so. SuiteFlow is basically a graphic user interface that enables users to drag and drop shapes in a workspace. This workspace is where you can define states, conditions, and transitions for any unique business process. This is a very powerful tool that NetSuite offers and can assist in automating something like an approval chain, or even if you want to go ahead and auto-populate fields on a specific record, this is where you can use SuiteFlow to automate these business process flows. And as you continue to scale and your business processes are changing, the tool is dynamic and agile enough to allow you make necessary changes on your own right in the application. So this is a sample approval process that we'll walk through in the demonstration just so you have an understanding of exactly what the workflow was, that sample that I created. So we're going to start with the end user entering a purchase request. This is going to get routed to their manager. We've defined that manager on the employee record. Then we have a variety of conditions. The conditions are stating a certain threshold or limit of tier that the manager is capable of approving. So anything less than $1,000, that's going to be okay to go ahead and approve that and generate the PO. However, if it's greater than 1,000, we're going to need some additional approvers and another set of eyes for internal controls before that PO is actually sent out. So that's where it would go in here to our department head. They would review it, and again, applying different conditions, thresholds, and tiers here with this $5,000. The same concept applies. Anything greater than $5,000 would then need to be routed to the controller, who can then go ahead and approve it. So this is the workflow we'll get into. And I'm just going to pop into my demo environment, and I'm logged in the admin here, and I have a sample purchase approval workflow open, and we'll go through this. So this is the workspace I was referencing, and really this is the first state. And what this is saying is that, when is this workflow going to be triggered and kicked off? And we're saying upon entry. And what does that mean? That means when the purchase request is created, we have a variety of transactions and actions below this to dictate to the system the next steps or chain of events that are going to happen in our business process. And really the point here is that it is all point and click functionality. So you can see here when we get to the supervisor approver, I'm able to go ahead and set a value. What's my value? I'm referencing the employee record and pointing the system to route it to their specific supervisor. And then we're able to go ahead and even set up transactions or conditions. So if I click on this transaction, if it's less than $1,000, we're going to go ahead and automatically approve this. So let's say maybe we want to go ahead and we want to make changes to that threshold. Again, it's agile and dynamic for you to do this on your own. You're not going to have to call up someone at NetSuite to help you walk through this process. You can go ahead and edit these conditions and make those necessary changes on your own. So whatever field or condition is dictating and driving this business process flow, you can drop down menu that's defined here, what the compared value is. And again, very intuitive to go ahead and make adjustments as changes occur in your business process. Let's go ahead and cancel out of this, just highlighting there, it is about that point and click functionality. One other state I do want to highlight as well is this rejection state. So again, if for whatever reason that purchase request is rejected by an approver, we're going to go ahead and send an email back to that employee to alert them that it has been rejected and give them the opportunity to go ahead, make edits and changes to that purchase order, resubmit it, and that will re-trigger and kick off the process workflow again, routing to their supervisor, and those same conditions would go ahead and be applied there. So we can see as we go through here, again, the condition, anything greater than $1,000 would require that department head approval. And then the last transition, anything greater than $5,000 would require that controller approval. We've gone ahead, we've set that value here to go ahead and route to that specific controller. So it's just a simple high-level overview of really the workflow. It's easy, it's intuitive. If you need to add another state, it's simple to do that. It's really like a Visio diagram, being able to build on to each of these workflows, as well as it's intuitive enough to make changes as you go through this process. So let's go ahead and take a walk through this actual process flow in the system. So I'm going to log into my employee role and the employee center, which is a limited user license. So you can see, the dashboard is really just tailored to the few things that they might be doing in the system on a day-to-day basis. So we'll go ahead, we'll enter a new purchase request in the system to kick this process off. And the value here, you can see exactly on that home dashboard, any purchase requests that they've gone ahead and needed to enter, they can see the status of those right from their dashboard. I'm going to go ahead, we'll select this vendor, copy the previous purchase request that I was testing earlier. We're going to go ahead and assume that maybe we have a new marketing team that's starting and they need some new Dell LED monitors. And again, that amount is going to be greater than $5,000. So we're going to need 3 levels of approvers based on the workflow that we just took a look at. So I'm going to go ahead and save this purchase request down, and then it's going to prompt me into a status of pending approval. Again, that's all driven behind the scenes. We've gone ahead, we've entered that entry state, and the workflow has picked up this process. And I have an audit trail as we go through with this entire workflow. If I go into my systems information, I can see what active workflow it is. There's our simple purchase request. I know it's working behind the scenes, as well as a date and timestamp for exactly what's happening when we get to each state. So we've gone ahead, we've executed that entry state, and now it's going to our supervisor for approval. So I'm going to come in here and go into my sales manager role to go ahead and approve this specific transaction. And I don't have to go searching the system. I'm going to have a reminders portlet with real-time alerts and updates. I can also receive an email notification alerting me that I have a purchase request that needs to be approved. So with one click right from my reminders, I can go ahead and drill down to see exactly what purchase request needs to be approved. Here's the one we just created for $6,000. I'm going to go ahead and view this. We can see where we added in those 2 buttons, being able to approve and reject. Again, that's all dictated from the workflow. So to continue this process, I'm going to go ahead and approve this transaction. We can see the status again in a pending approval, and we have that audit trail when I go into system information for the next step. And then we now know it's going to go to our department head to review this information. And that's going to be my inventory manager in this use case. And the department is defined at the header level there. So we're just going to go ahead and we'll just, we could set up reminders here, or you can go ahead and just, I think I have it in my purchase manager is the actual department head that's approved. And again, you would define that in one of your segmentations on that home screen there if you did need to route it by departments. So here we can go into our reminders and we can see 149 right from here. I can go ahead and view this transaction, review this, and then go ahead and continue the workflow. I'm going to approve this purchase order. And again, pending approval, we'll go into our system information. We'll look at our workflow history. We know it's at our final stage for our controller to go ahead and approve it. Again, last roll here going into the controller. So this entire process is automated. You have an audit trail and everything's happening real time. You have reminders on your dashboard to help you navigate what exactly needs to be done on your end as an approver, as well as you could set up an email notification to alert you that there's a purchase request out there that needs to be approved so you're not delaying anything, any type of business from going out the door. So we'll go ahead. This is the final one. We're going to approve it. And now we should no longer see the status of pending approval. It's now going to be flipped into a state of pending receipt. So again, it's very intuitive and easy to use. And let's say I did go ahead and reject it at any time. If I pop back open into my PowerPoint here, I have a sample of what that rejection email would look like. So this is something that would go back to that end user, and they would be able to go ahead, come in here, view that record, and then adjust, make changes, and resubmit it, and it would kick off that initial workflow process. So just really to kind of summarize here, it's intuitive and easy to use. It really is about being able to personalize this on your own, and it's that point and click functionality that NetSuite offers. So as your business continues to grow and scale, we have a tool, that SuiteFlow tool, that is dynamic and agile to allow you to personalize that in any ways and maintain those internal controls without having to re-engage with our professional services team and invest more time and more money with those services. It's easy, intuitive for you to do on your own. So thanks again for joining today, and that's a quick high-level overview of our SuiteFlow and specifically our workflow approval routing engine.